You wake up in a small room with barely enough light filtering through a tiny window. The sound of a dripping faucet is constant, a reminder of the everyday struggle. You sit up on your worn-out mattress and take a deep breath. Another day begins in a world that feels cold. In the kitchen, you prepare a simple breakfast. The kettle boils weakly on an old stove, and you brew a small cup of coffee in a cracked mug. You open the fridge to find just a carton of milk and a slice of bread. The milk is a little off, and the bread is stale, but you make do. This modest meal is all you have to start your day. Stepping outside, you're greeted by a dreary morning. The sky is gray, and the city seems to be in a permanent state of exhaustion. You walk to the bus stop, where only a couple of tired men huddle together. When the bus arrives, you squeeze into a cramped seat. The vehicle rattles along slowly while you stare out the window at a giant billboard that shouts, "Luxury living for the rich." You joke silently. Maybe I should start saving my spare change to buy a parking spot for a fancy car. At work, you step into a bland office filled with rows of identical cubicles, and the clock on the wall seems to mock you with every slow tick. You settle into your cubicle, a small, confining space that feels more like a prison cell than an office. You power up your ancient computer, which groans to life with a delay. The screen fills with endless emails, boring spreadsheets, and tasks that repeat day after day. Your boss, a man with a permanent scowl and a shiny gold watch, wanders the aisles like a broken record. He doesn't bother to smile or offer any praise. He just issues orders. Every click and tap on your keyboard is a reminder that you're stuck in this cycle. When your computer freezes for a moment, you let out a quiet laugh. Even the machine seems to be fed up with the endless monotony. At lunch, you retreat to the break room. You open your lunchbox to reveal a half-eaten sandwich and a lopsided apple that looks like it lost a fight with gravity. You sit down with your only lunch buddy, Sam, a coworker whose face seems permanently set in a "what's the point" expression. In soft, hushed tones, you both trade dark jokes about your miserable routine. "At least we get a free break every day," you mutter. Sam just shrugs, and for a few precious minutes you share a laugh about how absurd it is that you're paid to sit and stare at screens all day. Back at your cubicle, the emails pile up like dirty dishes, and the clock seems to move at a snail's pace. You drift into a daydream about life outside these cubicles, a world where meetings don't drain your soul and coffee doesn't taste like burnt hope. Your mind wanders to silly fantasies. Maybe you're secretly a superhero in disguise, or maybe you'll suddenly win a lottery that pays in smiles. But reality crashes in when the phone rings with another tedious call. At that moment, a coworker accidentally knocks over his mug, spilling coffee all over his keyboard. You can't help but burst into a genuine laugh. Finally, the workday ends. You pack up your things with a mix of relief and a heavy sense of defeat. The bus ride home mirrors the morning ride, the same tired faces, the same oppressive silence, and the city passing by as a blur of missed opportunities. When you reach your modest apartment building, you shuffle inside, your shoulders slumped as if carrying the weight of another day's disappointments. At your rickety table, you spread out a stack of overdue bills, rent, electricity, water, and a few other surprise charges. You look at the numbers and mutter dryly, "At least my bills are honest. They never lie about how little I have." That evening, you sit by your apartment window, watching the city lights twinkle like distant promises. The view is pretty, but it only makes you more aware of how far you are from that glitz and glam. You pull out a battered notebook and scribble one simple line. Another day, another dollar wasted. Before bed, you scroll through your phone and find a short, absurd video clip, a tiny, silly animation that mocks the very routine you live every day. You chuckle softly, the sound mingling with the steady drip of the faucet. One video in particular makes you laugh so hard that for a moment, you forget about your mounting bills. This brief, digital escape reminds you that even in the bleak routine of your day, there's always room for a little silliness, a chance to laugh at the ridiculousness of it all. Finally, you prepare for sleep. The room is dark and quiet, save for the persistent sound of the dripping faucet. As you lie down, you reflect on the day. Tomorrow promises the same routine, the same bus ride, the same cubicle, the same endless tasks. Yet even in this predictable cycle, you hold on to a flicker of hope. With a resigned sigh and a half smile, you whisper to yourself, "Tomorrow I'll wake up and do it all again."